Hi there, Lisa Arana here, and I am so excited you joined me for today's Assemble This video. It is all about watercolor and simple layers for this super adorable stamp from Unity Stamp Company. So let's jump right on in and assemble this card. I have pre-stamped the moose from Wild Surprises from Unity Stamp Company on some Canson XL watercolor paper, and I'm using VersaFine ink just because it's very crisp and it helps with these really fine detailed stamps. And you all know I love to watercolor with distress inks, so I have three colors in antique linen, brush corduroy, and walnut stain. I have those smushed down onto a laminated piece of cardstock, but you can use like a glass mat or an acrylic block, whatever is slick that will help mix the water with that ink. And then I'm picking it up with a water brush pen just because I'm lazy and I tend to spill my cups of water all the time. So I'm using a water brush pen, allowing it to really control the amount of water I'm using. I rarely squeeze it unless it's just super dry and water is not moving that ink well. Started out with my lightest color, coming in with my medium tone, and then I'll do any shading with that dark walnut stain. Just takes a few layers. Since I'm not using a lot of water, the layers dry fairly quickly. So they kind of layer on top of each other, but still blend in nicely. So once the mousse was done, I'm moving on to the flowers and grass. I have another rainbow of colors that are kind of springy. I have mustard seed, wilted violet, peeled paint, and then I started with tumble glass, but it was just too light, so I came back in with broken china, and those clouds really pop now on that background. I'm just using a scribbling motion. I almost use almost a vertical up and down side and then move my brush side to side as I go up and down, and that creates an abstract cloud look. Last, I'm going to add just a few white gel pen accents, and that finishes off our watercoloring. I just adore this sweet little moose. He's going to be great for so many types of cards. Now I'm just going to tear away each side of the panel, and I'm using the size of the stamp as a guide, going outside just a little bit, but it's okay if it kind of tears off a little bit of that stamped image as well. So we end up with a nice narrow panel. Next, I'm going to do a layer of pattern paper and stamping. This is the Jubilant Tapestry paper pack from Unity Stamp Company, and I'm just going to stamp small details right over the top, so it kind of creates a little interest and pulls that green into the background as well. And then I'm just going to tear either side of this panel, again, kind of mimicking the moose panel. And once I have those layers torn, I'm just going to take my scissors and then cut it down the middle. This is a great way to use up a piece of scrap that you have or to stretch so you don't use up all your pieces of pattern paper. And I made sure that my words were going the right way, that they weren't upside down. Next, I'm just going to ink blend everything. I thought about actually not adding the ink blending, and it looked great, but there's something for me about adding that ink blending that really unifies all the layers, adds a hint of antiqued feeling to it. So I tend to add the ink blending, but it's not necessary. It did look just as great without it. I'm using the brushed corduroy to ink blend all those layers. That way it pulls in the color from the mousse and kind of unifies all the layers and colors in this card. Now I'm eyeballing where I'm placing each of these strips. I did place down my mousse panel so I kind of knew where it was in the center of my card, and I wanted to make sure that you could still see that craft peeking out from behind and that there was a nice layer of that text pattern paper. And then last, I'm just going to pop up that mousse right in the center and then added a few of these white enamel hearts just to kind of add a little bit of cuteness to the card. And here is the final look. I love the layers, I love the watercolor, and I love this mousse. A definite must-have stamp for sure. Check out the description below for a list of supplies and a link to my blog, dollhouse-designs.com, for a full supply list and more photos and details. Thanks for creating with me. I hope you're inspired, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.